the organizing committee of the conference for doing this diligent and wonderful work. And I immediately start with my presentation, which is entitled Gamification and Storytelling for Architectural History and Cultural Heritage Awareness. Actually, this was just a proposal. I have submitted the proposal 2 months ago in March, and the results will be announced in August. But I'm very positive, and since the development of a project, as you all know, is a very hard academic work, I thought that sharing the development process and sharing the activities and our methodology would be very suitable for this conference. And thank you for having me here once again. This is the outline of my presentation, and I will start with a brief introduction. Then I will introduce you our project at a glance. Then I will talk about our motivation, why we designed this project, and then I will go into the details of project activities. And towards the end, I will talk about the innovativeness of our project and expected results, and I will conclude. Yes, sure, I can enlarge the window, of course. Before that, let me, I think you can see it, right? Okay. Sorry, I am lost now. Okay. Okay, let me make a very personal introduction first of all. These are the images that I took from my personal Instagram account. And I would like to tell you a bit of personal motivation for this project. It has only been 8 months since I came to Alanya, and I visited the historical buildings of the city many times with great pleasure, and many others which are trying to survive, such as the Cilvarda monastery that you see here, with a great sadness. However, I was very surprised when I learned that most of my students at the Faculty of Architecture have not visited the historic sites in Alanya, although they were living in the city for several years. Okay, as I am an architectural historian, I may have been fascinated by the extraordinary architectural heritage of this city I have just moved to. But my students are studying architecture, and they have been living in the city for years already. Is it just them? No, few people in the city know the history, layers, values, and stories of the places they live in, especially the underrepresented ones, the disabled, the refugees, or lower income groups. They even do not have the chance to see them. For this reason, it is not surprising that some of the buildings have been left abandoned to their destiny, and the values of the well-off are not known except for the landscape. If we want to change this, we need to change our education system first. This fact is common not only for students of architecture, but also for the whole public. However, it is necessary to realize this with a completely new, innovative, and creative teaching methodology, not by adding traditional, inefficient courses based on memorization to the existing architecture curriculum, which is even alienating students from history and architectural heritage studies. Therefore, what this project promises to bring is triggering the awareness of cultural heritage, starting from the local scale, then to reaching the international scale. If we effectively raise awareness of our students as well as local people, especially children and youth, as this project directly aims to reach, we can is the way that paves the road to protect our common cultural heritage. But we have to do this in an innovative way, right? By using novel methodologies and by putting learners and people at the center. Okay, I have 10 minutes, I know. This is the title of the project, Palimpsest Cities, and the meaning of the palimpsest is a manuscript or piece of writing material on which later writing has been superimposed, or something reused or altered, but still bearing visible traces of its earlier form. So cities like Alanya or cities like Istanbul or Rome are actually palimpsest, multi-layered cities, and that almost many historic cities puts into the target group of this project. Let me introduce the project at a glance. This is an Erasmus Plus project, KA220, a higher education project, and AHEP, Alanya University, is the coordinator, and we have 3 partners: Mimar Sinan Fine Arts University in Istanbul, Turkey, Innovate from Volos, Greece, and DAA Architectura from Romania, Bucharest. What we want to achieve by implementing the project, well, the primary aim of the project is creating architectural history and cultural heritage awareness, especially for multi-layered cities, by establishing bonds with cities past and its inhabitants through innovative, hybrid, learner-based approaches, by particularly using techniques of gamification and digital storytelling. By implementing it, we want to change the mindsets of our students as well as the whole public, starting from the underrepresented groups in an effective and sustainable way. What activities are we going to implement? Well, we will first design a new course called Palimpsest Cities on architectural history and cultural heritage conservation by applying novel education approaches. This is an important point, with the complementing skills of the partners. Then we will make implementations at our universities in the second year, the second phase of the project, and at local levels, targeted particularly to youth and children. We will test the success of this approach with the qualitative and quantitative evaluations, which will also be designed throughout the project to improve the quality of the course and provide a guide for future adaptation. So this is another significant aspect of the project, actually. So it will be adaptable to other cities, to other universities, to other courses. So you are more than welcome to benefit from the results of this project from now. And what results do we expect at the end? Well, we expect to have significant improvement in architectural and cultural heritage awareness, stronger bonds with the city for everyone, and better protection of our built environment. We also believe that this project and its implementations would open a new path, both in architectural education and heritage conservation, with its original interdisciplinary approach, putting learners at the center into an active role and create strong synergies in academia, NGOs, and local bodies with its inclusive character. And let me briefly talk about our motivation. We believe that the protection of our architectural and cultural heritage should start from the bottom, not from top. And the only way to protect our and Europe's and the whole world's actually historic and multi-layered cities is to make everyone embrace their cities through getting familiar with them, knowing them, and above all, meeting them. Therefore, we designed this project as a higher education project since most of the project team is from academia. But we particularly aim to work hard to make the outputs of the project reach every single member of the society by providing necessary adaptations to disseminate the results to anyone, not only our architecture students only. Let me briefly go over the project activities. I will divide it into two. The first one is presenting the first year's activities, the first phase, and the second one is the second year's activities. By the way, the project is proposed to be a two-year project, two-year-long project. The first phase is devoted to creating the curriculum for a new course entitled Palimpsest Cities on architectural history and cultural heritage awareness for multi-layered cities. What we will do, we will start with a literature review. We will design the contents of the course. And as I want to stress once again, it is a hybrid course. What I mean with hybrid is not a combination of online and face-to-face. It is bringing together the cutting edge technology and the novel methodologies, learner-based methodologies. And these are the activities that will make at the end the content of this new curriculum. Timeline travel is one of its modules. We will create new timelines using the timeline travel mobile app that we had developed in my previous EU project. We will use digital storytelling. This is a popular technique, and since I'm a storyteller, I'm a children's writer, and I also want to share my competences with the rest of the project group, and I want to learn from them, of course. And the elements of storytelling will be combined into the course. And we will also use the gamification, virtual and face-to-face workshops, and we will learn how to gamify a course to make it more attractive. We will also combine a workshop called City on Trial. We will design a tunnel book, which is a model. I think my time is going up. Right.
Yes, Dr. Muzaffer, you need now to conclude in order we have some questions about the presentation.
I will in a minute. And we will also design a guide, an online guide that will help other instructors to prepare a similar course for other multi-layer cities with a user-friendly instructions. So in the second phase, we will test the new curriculum with test lectures and local implementations in our cities, in our institutions, and we will evaluate the results and evaluate the impact of this new approach. So I will skip this since I am running out of time, and I would like to also show you briefly what makes our project innovative, but I think I need to skip them. Maybe you can have a quick scan of the screen now. And what we expect, once again, is to have improvement in cultural heritage awareness, strong bonds with the city, and protection of our built environment. But we will also expecting those concrete results, if you can also have a quick look at them. We also are expecting to have these concrete results, touchable results. And as the conclusion, I just want to say one thing. Thank you. And if you wish to collaborate, please contact me. This project also needs you. This project also needs your collaboration. And we are open to share our results with each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muzaffer.
Thank you.
Dr. Philippe, we can start the discussion.
Yes, I think there is a first question.
Yes.
Isabella?
Yes. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. I want to ask the presenter, a very interesting presentation, but my question is, I want him to please explain more what gamification means. What is gamification, the context of his study? Thank you.
I think for me, it's the same thing. The last presentation was very interesting, but I don't know if we want to get into more detail, or because I think the time limit, maybe this is the problem, but it's a very interesting presentation actually.
Yes, but I think the rules should be the same for everybody.
Unfortunately, yeah, time can't be extended, but yeah, it's a very interesting presentation.
So please, if there is a site or so to have more detail about this subject, because I'm interested to know better about this project and about the gambling and the storytelling thing.
Of course, I can share more information with you. I can share an extended version of this presentation, but it will soon be published in the proceedings books of the conference as well. But please send me an email. I will be more than happy to change. Exchange.
I will send you an email to see it, if you can send me the site of the project. You said it's already published project you worked on?
No, as I said at the very beginning, this is just a proposed project. So we are still...
okay, proposed. Okay.
So the results will be announced in August. But I'm very positive that it will be awarded, and I hope everyone will benefit from the results. So I type here once again my email address if you want to.
Yes, I think you can share it in the conversation box. So everybody.
You already did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments from the...
Actually, I want to thank Muzaffer Hoja. I think this is very interesting topic. And as how can I say, someone who is fond in historical buildings, I always love to see the sightseeing and the historical part of that city when I travel to somewhere new. I understand you. But I wanted to just mention something, that the new generation are a little bit ignorant, even about themselves. At the first session of the classes, I always introduce myself, my background, and I try to, how can I say, understand the psychology of my students. So I ask their names, their CV, their background, what do they think about architecture or history of architecture, or what the, the course is about. I noticed that sometimes even they don't know their own name's meaning. They don't know the meaning of the city name. For example, as a foreigner, I'm Iranian. I know more than them, and I can talk in Turkish. So I said that in Arabic, this word means this, and in Persian language or in Arabic writing, this is derived from this. And I noticed that they don't know the meaning of their own names even, not even the name of the city. So they are a little bit ignorant. But after some years, one of my students sent one of those sticky notes that I wrote his name in Arabic. And he said that I still keep this from you. This is the Persian version of my name in Arabic. And I noticed that if we encourage them, they are willing to learn. So this is very important, that storytelling that you are saying, or at the beginning, it really catch my interest that how you start your presentation, that they are ignorant about their own cities, their background, even the name. What does the name of your city or your own name that you are using for at least 20 years or 18 years, you don't know the meaning of that. So they are ignorant, but we have this, how can I say, maybe obligatory, or this, duty to awaken that inside them, that interest in them. So if they are guided in a true way, we can protect our historic buildings more. This is just something that I wanted to share. Thank you very much again for your very lovely presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Actually, what we want to do throughout the project duration is to design ways that will combine the students, actually everyone, not only students, but everyone, with their local history. And we will use the gamification, we will gamify the course, we will gamify our activities, and we will use storytelling. And the students will, actually the participants will be able to create their own stories. And I'm sure that in that way, by playing a game and by designing a video story, they will enjoy and they will learn the meaning of the city's name, and they will learn even more about their history, and they will eventually want to protect them. They will embrace them.
Yeah, sure. My PhD dissertation is about interpretation of historic churches in Famagusta, North Cyprus. And we had this tour for the students for 13 to 16 years old. And we tried to just introduce the historic buildings to them. And we told them that there was a slogan that everyone is a tour leader. So you go and introduce these to your own family, then you come with your families, then your families are interested, so you come with more family, friends, and so you are the tour leader. Everyone is a tour leader, and they had this responsibility to listen very carefully that what I'm gonna go and tell my family about these buildings. It's really nice. Thank you again for your very nice presentation.
Okay, thank you both for your very interesting discussions. We have two hands raised. We have Diana now. Yeah, Diana.
Hello, hi. I'd like to also thank you, Dr. Muzaffer, again for the really interesting and intriguing presentation. It's really lovely to see that you're being connected again to the students and to really start the learning and the achievement process from, as what you said, from the bottom to the top, the usual upside down process that happens. So it's really interesting starting to speak about that scope in particular. Also added with the research integrated part, all of these writings also contributions. However, I just read something while you were presenting. You were mentioning the tunnel book among the curriculum. So can you just tell us more about it? What do you mean by the tunnel book, or how are you actually visualizing that or envisioning it towards the curriculum adapted?
You're asking only about the tunnel book?
Yes. Can you just tell us briefly about it, because it's really interesting?
Yeah. It is actually a 2D, not a 3D, but 2D representation of a city. So it is like a book with different layers coming one in front of other. So if you look it from a different direction, you will see the different layers of the city. And by making up each layer like this, putting them one in front of other, then you will have it in the end. You will have the present day city. So you can think about this as a vertical model. The architects love making models. As a part of the studio courses, they develop models. But instead of putting them on a horizontal layer, we will make it as a vertical, book-like structure, and we will also add sounds of the cities, maybe some stories of the cities, some people who have lived in those layers as the layers of the tunnel book. I hope that is clearer now.
Yeah, I was wondering about the content of the book itself, but yeah, it seems clarified now. Thank you.
Actually, it is not a book to be read, but it is a model. But at the end of the project duration, we will expect to design two tunnel books, one for Istanbul and one for Alanya. And we also wish to exhibit the huge books, the tunnel books, to the public.
We'll be looking forward for that. Thank you so much.
Very quickly, last comments or last question for Thomas Turner.
Yes, Prof. Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be part of this presentation today to learn a lot of things. So I have maybe two questions for observation for the last two presenters. You know, I really learned a lot from the last one about gamification and storytelling for architectural history. You know, it's true that in recent times, students of architecture don't find reading history interesting to them. You know, if you ask them, they will tell you it's one of the boring courses, you know, because of most of the time, it will be about theories, telling them history, this happened, but the way you want to concretize the whole thing now, you want to practicalize the whole thing so that students will be able to see it. I think it's very commendable and they will appreciate it rather than just reading. You know, theory is really hard something, so it's commendable. But when you were listing the kind of, let's say, strategies that you want to develop, you know, gamification is just one of them. You are talking about gamification, I think number 7 or so. There are many other strategies. So I don't know, why do you choose the name gamification as the main topic instead of maybe a name that can encompass all the strategies, since gamification is just one of them? But it's okay, maybe all of them could also be termed under gamification, but maybe you can explain better. That's one. I don't know if I can quickly comment on the other one before I drop, sir. The chairman.
Yes, but really quick, please, because we have 5 minutes.
All right, sorry, sir. The other one was about the form and function in the Pierre Qatar Artificial Island. You know, it was a nice presentation about the recent development, postmodernism that is going on in architecture over there. And then the presentation ended with contributions or recommendations. And one of them was to include bus services in the main city area to minimize all these individual cars and taxi. I think if I remember very well, that is one of the recommendations. But from the beginning of the presentation, we were not able to see the problem statement. As in, why is really the problem that you want to study the form and the function of the city, or you just want to give us a lecture that this is the form, this is the function, and then at the end you can see contribution or recommendation. But what is really the problem that really started it? Are you criticizing, are you critiquing what is there, or are you trying to bring values of the people? I did not see interviews from the people confessing that yes, they benefit, the project represent their values, the project is good, maybe a bit of survey from the people interviews on the perceptions would have solved that. Thank you.
Okay, I think now 6 minutes late, so